Good morning. Happy birthday and happy anniversary to Dementia Man and myself. Yes, July is a big moment in my life and in the life of the play, Dementia Man. We probably just around this coming weekend, the weekend of uh, the 13th and 14th, would be roughly the beginning of our second year. We debuted last year in July in the Washington, D.C. Fringe Festival. And so this next week will mark the beginning of the second year. So we're in our second year. We're 2 years old, I guess. We're turned one, but we're in our second year. Just like me, I turn 79. That means I will have lived 79 years. And so July marks the beginning of my 80th year of life. Who could imagine? And I am so fortunate to be here for both, so to speak. Dementia Man has been a play, um, endeavor that has changed me and has succeeded in a way that I could not have imagined, both to help me and to help those and be a gift to those who see it. I could never have imagined that this particular play, doing this work, would have such deep impacts on the audiences, nor was I aware of the environment around cognitive impairment and aging that demands the voices of not just me, but so many like me who see the broken systems that were out there and the urgent need of a vision for a meaningful and impactful life for those who are in their late years of life, the 70s and 80s, the baby boomers. Not only the baby boomers, but the boomers and their children. The cognitive, and indeed, right now, the national conversation that's going on around a president of the United States who seems to have a cognitive challenge. And how we view these people, and these people is, again, a thing I shouldn't even say, how we view people with their cognitive status, whether it isn't ever going to be like it was at our quote prime. We all age differently. And then there are some of us, many of us, who have diseases and uh, cognitive impairments, and which I do. I'm not saying the president or anybody else does. The challenge, though, is as a society, we don't know how to handle this situation. We don't yet have a vision of positive aging. I'm stealing that from some people already out there. To have meaningful lives, fully engaged in modified ways to continue to make a difference in the world, however we define that, and to be present and accommodated. There's a long journey, and I was part of it, of the disability movement, where there was no thought. It was beyond society's imagination that people with significant disabilities, whether you were in a wheelchair or needed a breathing machine, had other cognitive challenges, that there could be living independently on your own, and that people with those impairments could continue to contribute positively to our communities, whether churches, synagogues, workplaces, all that is possible, and all that is possible to live just another era of our lives. I call it fourth age of our lives in meaning and strength. And I wrote a play about it called Dementia Man at the urging of my colleagues because I was diagnosed in 2022 with Alzheimer's disease. But you don't have to have a disease to be facing the challenge, cognitive challenges. It is part of normal living. Unfortunately, for most people, or for many people, we just have seen or experienced aging or people with cognitive decline in very negative lights. So there's an urgent need for plays with from people like me or movies by, I hope, some great um, producers of movies um, that show and make accessible to everybody wonderful stories about meaningful lives as we get older. Which reminds me, one of the things you guys can do for my birthday to wish me my happy entry into my 80th year, but also just to also a happy birthday to Dementia Man as it enters its second year, is to become a producer of a play. Did you know that you too can become a theater producer? Let me tell you about the show that you can be part of making possible. Dementia Man, if you haven't seen it, and I hope you will, it is a story, my story, that I'm present myself as one of millions today facing dementia or uh, Alzheimer's, a non-curable cognitive disease, and how I can still nonetheless find the strength, training, and energy to get up on stage and perform a one-man, 60-minute play about this journey. And I just love the reactions. One of my most meaningful moments, I'm going to do something with this blog that I hope works. I get all sorts of really meaningful emails and letters and all that, all those accolades are on our website. But something really different happened this first year. I'm going to spend just a minute talking about that. It stemmed from my performances in Washington in last July. So, as part of the debut of the show, Dementia Man, we would hold a talk back after each one. And that was in July, mid-July. We had 4 performances. In November, I received an email from somebody who had seen the show with her husband in July. So that's August, September, October, almost 4 months later. And it turned out uh, Arlene Holen, Holen, I looked down at this note, was there with her husband, Dr. Sheldon Holen. What I didn't know is that her husband, Dr. Sheldon Holen, had um, a cognitive disease. And sadly, he had passed away in late October. And during that time, he had done a work of art. See, people with significant cognitive issues can still do art. And I'm going to try to share a, a picture that he made of himself. And I'm going to share my screen and hopefully this comes across well. Um, and that screen that I'm going to share is the picture of Dr. Hohen. You can see that on the screen now. That's a self-portrait of a man who experiencing memory loss. And his widow sent me a note, and I'm going to stop sharing it, uh, saying that informing me that they had been at my performance and that he had passed away. And she attached a copy of that picture and said she would like to gift it to me. That they found my play and the vision of living a meaningful life with the disease so meaningful that her husband, Dr. Holland, wanted me to have it. And so I carry it with me to many of my plays. I make it available to others. And it so moved me and helped give me the energy. It was a gift to me to know that I can provide encouragement and vision for people who go through this period or era of life. I think you should know or be aware that our society, the baby boomer age and their children are now in this era where I'm 1945, baby boomers start in 46, but this era is aging out. And then it had been the biggest generation for most of post-war history. And then their children are equally affected. My children, they have to worry about me. My spouse, of course, Susan, who is my cognitive navigator, but even our children are all part of this journey. And it is so important that we work to let everyone know and then assist and foster a meaningful life with this disease, with this time in our lives. There are some alternate narratives. There is the argument or the fear that we are going to be too big a burden for our families, that the cost of caring for us will bankrupt everybody, and that it is just too ugly to watch somebody go through this. The challenge of being the care partner to the families is huge. And there is that narrative of accompanied suicide that just go and kill ourselves. I hope nobody ever does that again. That there is so much we have to offer, if nothing else, that we can be of value in trying to find solutions, cures, how to improve the life. We've just heard this past week of new medicines that will slow down the progress of these disease. And then finally, let me say that what my wife, Susan, my care partner, and I believe, more deeply than anything else, I think, that we are uniquely privileged to have been in a position to care for each other through perhaps our last dance, our last periods of life. Google the actual dance. That was my first play. That's my first book. When Susan was diagnosed at 54, at age 54, of advanced breast cancer. And during her treatment period, the doctors went dark. They pulled me aside and said, get ready. And I had to get ready. And imagine being Susan's care partner, love partner, as she took her last breath. That is the source of that first play. And now Susan is in that same position. We've switched positions. And know what is, I think, weirdly to say, I know it sounds bad, but it's good. This is how I want to go we all have to go, but this is how I want to go. Being held by my wife who loves me and whom I love. I don't want to be in a car crash. I don't want to drink a cup of poison. I want to let nature take its course and in that process be as meaningful and helpful and a person and contributor to society and to be held by the person I love most in this world. And if I had to, it would be that to Susan. That's what love really means. So those are my reflections on these days of celebration. 1 year, successful play, making a difference yet again, continuing. Sam Simon, Troublemaker, Dementia Man, and husband and love partner to Susan as I enter my 80th year and Dementia Man enters its second year. Now you can become a producer of this play. Actually, why don't you go on to online and go to donate, and you'll see a list of people who are producers. These are people who have, a producer of a play is actually people who provide the resources, the money. And you will see you too can be one of those people for Dementia Man. You even want to go to theactualdance.com and be a producer of that play too. But seriously, it is an honor to me that you would be willing to help out. This is done in professional, it's not a hobby. And our mission, our vision is to be seen by and impact the lives of everyone who needs to see it. And now, clearly, a limited time. I hope I can do it a second year. My cognitive health, I have Alzheimer's. I feel it's taken its toll now. And my goal, and it's an uncertainty, to be here and continue to do it. But your help and your support will help get this to everyone who needs to see it. So thanks for your support. Keep listening and refer who can present this. A theater, Alzheimer's Association presented it. Senior centers have presented it. Churches and community organizations have presented it. So refer to us. You can see also who our theatrical agent is, and hopefully, maybe I can see you too at a performance this coming year. And by the way, um, keep watching. We're about to start a project of having guest speakers being interviewed or having conversations about these cognitive journeys with each other. And if you have something you want to see, someone you want to hear, or if you want to be a guest for some reason, just email us at sam@dementiaman.com.